Triple H reportedly has an announcement he will be making tonight on Monday Night Raw. Details on what that could be and maybe what implications it could be regarding the game's announcement tonight on the Red Bland. Plus, the Nature Boy Ric Flair has appeared on the Joe Rogan Experience and also praised WWE Executive Chairman Vince McMahon. Details on what the Hall of Famer said and the reaction to it. Chavo Guerrero has slammed Rey Mysterio for invoking the image of Eddie Guerrero recently at WrestleMania. Nick Aldis reportedly has signed a contract with Impact Wrestling, and Eric Bischoff goes into details about how he nearly died twice in a recent health scare. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment, and suddenly social media and the pro wrestling world, and I guess WWE fans, are buzzing about a big announcement, a huge announcement tonight on Monday Night Raw from the WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque. Now, this is kind of built up throughout the day, it must be said. This isn't the first time I've recorded this video, because every single time I record it, new news actually comes up regarding this announcement, what it's going to be, what it's going to consist of, and backstage now speculation on what it actually is. So, first of all, it started off around this afternoon saying that a new report had revealed that Triple H was rumoured to make an announcement. This was just a rumour at this period of time on tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Now, of course, following WrestleMania 39, WWE CCO Triple H appeared on both Raw and SmackDown to address the WWE Universe. On the April 7th edition of Friday Night SmackDown, the game announced that the WWE Draft will return to shake up the roster following the showcase of the Immortals. Now, per WKRD Wrestling on Twitter, there were, before this was actually announced, rumours backstage of Triple H appearing on Raw tonight to make the announcement. Now, at the time, the report noted that the details surrounding what this announcement would be were being kept tight-lipped. That was the quote, tight-lipped backstage, and things were pretty unknown. Now, some people speculated, and this was just speculation at the time, that with the draft set to begin this coming Friday night on SmackDown on Fox, people thought it might have something to do with how the draft will work this year, draft pools, or general managers, commissioners, maybe something like that being announced. There had also been, there's been reports, Michael Cole confirmed it on SmackDown on Friday, but there had been reports of specific NXT talent being called up as part of the draft. So Triple H, giving his previous connection to NXT, maybe that might have something to do with it. That was the speculation at the time. And as I mentioned, initially, these rumors were going around before the actual announcement taking place tonight on Raw had even been announced. So it hadn't actually been confirmed by WWE. Well, that all changed around sort of 10-15 minutes or so ago at the time of recording this video. So Triple H officially now will be making a huge announcement tonight on Monday Night Raw. WWE revealed that Triple H will have, quote, a huge announcement to make on the April 24th episode of Monday Night Raw. As I mentioned, Triple H has appeared on Raw recently. He appeared on the Raw after WrestleMania to say that WWE was not going anywhere. Of course, that was on the day of the announcement that Endeavor had acquired WWE, and WWE would be merging with the UFC later this year. And on that subsequent episode of SmackDown, that's when he announced that the draft was going to return. But that's all they said. They just said Triple H is going to make an announcement on Raw. It's a huge announcement. That's about it. Now, as far as backstage speculation, though, as to what this announcement is, as I mentioned earlier on, before WWE had confirmed that the game was going to be on the show, that a lot of the details, things were being kept tight-lipped and no one really knew what it was. Now, Sean Ross Sapp, at the time of recording, has just posted this report regarding what the talent speculation is on Triple H's announcement. This comes from Fightful Select. They are saying the backstage is buzzing today about Triple H's announcement tonight on Monday Night Raw. One widely speculated element is that a new title bout is fully prepared and could be introduced as soon as tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Now, it hasn't been specified if it's a new design or a completely new title. They say, Fightful, that they reached out to WWE in an official capacity. They didn't hear back. This has been something that's been speculated quite a lot for quite a few months now. Heading into WrestleMania, there were reports that previously, if they could get The Rock to face Roman Reigns, they were going to create a separate world championship. They were going to say Roman Reigns is the WWE Universal Champion, whatever, and he's going to be facing The Rock, and his title reign remains as long as it is. They were going to create a brand new world championship, and there were rumors of Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre maybe going after that World Championship. So that's been rumored. So that could be what this new bout is about. It could be a new championship, a new World Championship specifically for Monday Night Raw ahead of the rosters being split during this year's WWE draft. So once again, we would have a World Champion for SmackDown or a Universal Champion. That would be Roman Reigns. And then we'd have this new World Champion that I guess would be specific to Monday Night Raw. That's a possibility. There has been rumors that this new title bout has been created. It's ready to go. Or at the same time, it could just be an updated version of a championship. There has also been rumors that we've got updated tag team championships coming, and different versions of the current tag team championships were also going to be made. It could be a variety of things when it comes to new title bouts. It could be a new championship altogether, a new world championship, new tag team championship bouts. We don't know, but that is one widely speculated element. Once again, this is coming from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, that a new title bout is fully prepared and could be introduced as soon as tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. Again, it hasn't been specified if it's a new design or a completely new title. So once again, it could be a situation whereby an existing championship, let's say, the United States Championship has only just been sort of redone in the last few years, so that would seem unlikely, but you never know. It could be a situation whereby, again, a current championship is getting an upgrade, like a tag team championship, or it could be a completely new championship being put together. It's not the first time that WWE's introduced new titles in recent years. Of course, they introduced the 24/7 championship. That went nowhere, but they could be something like that too. So certainly, that's a lot of speculation as to what this announcement is. The draft is coming up, so even if it was a new championship, I guess that would kind of be draft related. Again, there have been rumors as well about commissioners, general managers, rules of the draft and all that kind of stuff. So Triple H might have multiple announcements in one, but the prevailing theory, at least backstage right now, is it could be a new championship bout. So what do you think about that? A new championship? Does that signal that we're going to have split world championships once again? How does that affect the draft? Let me know your thoughts, your theories, your speculatory thoughts in the comment section below. I'm really interested to see what you guys think. Now, let's talk about Ric Flair on the Joe Rogan Experience. Now, lots of people have been talking about the Nature Boy, WWE Hall of Famer, two-time Hall of Famer Ric Flair appearing on the Joe Rogan Experience. Hall of Famer Ric Flair has shared his honest thoughts on WWE's executive chairman Vince McMahon, calling McMahon his hero. Speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, Flair noted that he's never had anyone treat him with as much respect as Vince McMahon has over the years. And as for a full transcript of this, it was pretty crazy. Now, as I mentioned on the Joe Rogan Experience, of course, Joe Rogan, UFC commentator, they spoke about the merger, the acquisition of WWE by Endeavor. Rogan noted that when Endeavor bought UFC, they kept things running similarly at the top, leaving Dana White in charge. Ric Flair said, quote, "I just can't see Vince taking orders. That would be a strange one for me if someone tried to tell Vince what the hell to do." Rogan then said, "Who the F knows more about wrestling than that guy?" Flair said, "Nobody." Rogan then said, "When he was getting involved in scandals and there was girls that he paid off, I just wanted to say, duh, you have this 80-year-old savage who's built like an effing gladiator. Gee, you think he Fs? You think Vince McMahon is doing that for hee-hees and haw-haws? No, of course he has some floozies on the side." Flair said, quote, "He's my hero." Rogan then said, "He's an animal." Flair said, "I judge people how they treat me, and he treated me like I've never had anyone treat me with more respect in this business." Rogan then said, "That's awesome." Flair continued by saying, "He's a great guy. I don't care what he does. He's my hero." Rogan then said, "Before him, there was no one of that caliber. There was no one who put together an organization as big as WWF. Flair said, "No, he's got balls bigger than effing Dallas, Texas. He's not easily intimidated." When it was mentioned that McMahon was reportedly returned to running certain aspects of WWE creative, including changing the script on the Raw after WrestleMania 39, Flair said, quote, "He just spends all day. He's so invested time-wise and mentally. To me, he's sharp as a tack. He had a chance, took a break from it, but it gave him a chance to look at the product, come back at it, fix what he thought was right or wrong. To me, he's entitled to do that. He owns it. He built it." So Flair basically saying, I don't care what he does. I don't care what Vince McMahon does. I don't care, essentially, is what he said. Certainly, again, very interesting. What are your thoughts on Ric Flair's comments about Vince McMahon on the Joe Rogan Experience? And did you watch the episode? What did you think of the episode with Flair involved in it? Now, speaking of controversial comments, Chavo Guerrero has absolutely slammed new WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2023 and made reference to the influence of the late Eddie Guerrero on his life and career. It wasn't the only time that Mysterio had brought up Guerrero's name in the past, a fact that was looked upon by Chavo Guerrero Jr. In a virtual signing for Captain's Corner, Chavo Guerrero gave his withering assessment of the use of the family name, saying, quote, "I gotta tell you this, I just don't understand why Rey Mysterio still has to. Look, we all love Eddie, but we're not going out with his gimmick and our gimmick. It was Los Guerreros' gimmick, and come out with Los Guerreros, we lie, we cheat, we steal," and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, keeping Eddie's memory alive." I say no, dude. I'm tired of people, and this is not a bitter thing, this is the truth. We worked hard for that last name. This whole family worked really, really hard to get that name to where it is, and we're tired of people prostituting it in a sense and using it for their benefit. So Rey Mysterio, I'm sorry that no one knows who Rey Mysterio Sr. is, Rey Mysterio Jr., no one knows who he is, and I'm sorry that you have to latch on to the Guerrero family, and we're just kind of tired of it. So thank you for keeping Eddie's name alive, thank you for keeping the Guerrero name alive, but we don't need you, we're good. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Rey could hold a candle to me right now, to be honest, Chavo responded when the host mentioned the idea of him versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania 40. So pretty scathing assessment, certainly, by Rey Mysterio, on Rey Mysterio there by Chavo Guerrero. Of course, Eddie Guerrero tragically passed away in November of 2005. He was then inducted into the Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2007 by Chavo Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero's nephew obviously accepted it upon his honor, along with his widow Vicky, but also inducting him with the likes of Rey Mysterio and at the time Chris Benoit, and I think also Dean Malenko. So a really sour situation involving Chavo Guerrero there, and it would be interesting to know certainly what Rey Mysterio's thoughts were and responses were to what Chavo had said about him. Now, switching gears here to a little bit of Impact Wrestling, it does have a WWE connotation. So, WWE has been the subject to widespread speculation in regards to free agency following the reported hiring freeze, which has led to several top free agents the company was pursuing deciding to go elsewhere. We spoke about this morning. This has led to Jay White and Commander signing with All Elite Wrestling in recent weeks. However, another top name has showed up in another promotion. At Impact Rebellion, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis showed up and kickstarted a feud with new Impact World Champion Steve Macklin. Following this appearance, it was reported that the former Magnus was working without a contract and he was on more of a verbal agreement, something which isn't out of the norm in Impact Wrestling, must be said. According to Inside the Ropes, Aldis has indeed, quote, 100% signed a contract with Impact Wrestling. The length of the contract is unknown at this time, but he has signed a deal. Aldis previously worked with Impact Wrestling as Magnus from 2008 to 2015, before eventually returning briefly 2 years later. He is a former TNA World Heavyweight Champion and a two-time TNA World Tag Team Champion. Aldis went on to become a staple of the National Wrestling Alliance, holding the NWA World Heavyweight Championship for 1,043 days across 2 title reigns. In January of this year, Aldis officially left the NWA after requesting his release, citing issues with the direction of the company following a public fallout with the owner, Billy Corgan. His contract also expired as well, and he basically said he wasn't going to re-sign it. So Aldis reportedly, according to these reports, has indeed signed a contract with Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling fans out there, are you happy about this? And WWE fans, do you think that they've missed out when it comes to signing the former NWA World Heavyweight Champion? Now, this is a really scary story. Eric Bischoff had a couple of dices with death recently. Eric Bischoff has told the story about a recent health incident and how it led to him almost passing away on 2 separate occasions. The pro wrestling legend told the story on the most recent episode of his 83 Weeks podcast. Bischoff started off the story by telling listeners about his health and how he strives to maintain a very healthy lifestyle. He said, quote, "This is a crazy story. I'm pretty healthy, actually very healthy. I hardly ever get sick, aside from the occasional cold. Allergies get me more than anything once or twice a year. Overall, I'd rate my health, I'm 68 years old, an 8 or a 9 on a scale of 10. I take no medications, I take a lot of supplements and things like that, but I'm not on any prescription medication or anything like that. I don't have high blood pressure, none of that stuff. My wife and I, we eat really healthy. She's focused on it. I benefit from it. I get a fair amount of exercise, just no issues, no aches, no pains." However, he went on to explain how he's hypoglycemic, and it led him to trying out a new supplement, which was Psyllium Husk. He says, in this quest to be even healthy than we already are, I'm reading about blood sugar. I'm hypoglycemic, meaning if I have a candy bar, I pass out. Sugar has the exact opposite impact on me that it has on most people. Most people, they need a jolt of energy. They'll have a Gatorade or a candy bar or something. If I do that, I'll just pass out for about an hour, hour and a half. When I wake up, I feel horrible. Anyway, we're reading about blood sugar, and I'm actually thinking about getting this monitor, this glucose monitor, because it enables you to really tell which foods spike your blood sugar the most. Sometimes it's something you wouldn't expect because it's all different. So I'm reading about all this stuff, and one of the things I read using a supplement like Metamucil, or in this case, psyllium husk. So I'm thinking I'm going to add this psyllium husk to my repertoire, even though I eat a lot of fiber and all that stuff. I don't have any issues in that regard, but I thought, no, it's even better. If one is good, two is better. So I get this big canister of psyllium husk, and I bring it home, and I'm looking at the directions, and it says recommended 1 to 3 tablespoons. I go, wow, that's for the average person. Since I spent 30 years in the wrestling business, I know that if 1 to 3 is good for the average person, I might need a minimum of 4 to 5, because that's how it works. That's where I stopped. I didn't read the rest of the directions, especially the important part which said don't start out with a maximum dose right away, work your way up to it. I didn't get to that shot. So I take these big gigantic scoops of psyllium husk and I throw it into my smoothie, because I'm drinking a smoothie, because I'm actually a healthy son bitch. I'm drinking this thing that's going to make me even healthier, right? Well, according to Bischoff, it went downhill from there. He said, quote, I'm feeling good about myself. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so dinner time comes around. Mrs. B and I sit down. We're eating our super healthy dinner that we do. We have a big salad, super healthy. We eat, we're watching TV. The same thing we do all the time. Everything is fine. I'm going to clean up this bit because it's not the most pleasant thing to talk about. I get up, I go to the bathroom, and I'm passing buckets of blood, lots of it. But I felt fine. Nothing hurt. I didn't have an upset stomach. I didn't have any cramps. I didn't have anything to indicate that there was anything really wrong other than the fact that I was passing copious amounts of blood. Because I'm smart this way, I go, it'll take care of itself. I didn't even mention it to Mrs. B because I was embarrassed. It's not something that I want to even talk about, even though I'm doing it here in front of God knows how many people. So I think it's going to take care of itself, and I go back to watching TV. About 45 minutes later, it happens again. About half an hour later after that, it happens again. Now we're going into about 10:30 at night, and I'm thinking I'm just going to go to bed, and I'm sure when I wake up, I'm going to be fine. I'm not worried about it. So I go to bed, 12:30, I wake up, and I'm dizzy. I can't stand up. We have a blood pressure monitor, and it's down in the kitchen because I usually use it in the mornings when I check my blood pressure every morning, just a habit. The kitchen, down 2 flights of stairs. I go down, and my blood pressure is usually 135, 140 over 85, maybe 90 or something, but I drink a ton of coffee, so I'm not alarmed with it. I check my blood pressure and it's like 85 over 45. I'm thinking, that's not good. And I check again, it's the same thing. I'm thinking something's wrong. So I go back upstairs, sit on the edge of the bed, and I said, Laurie, I think I need to go to the hospital. And as soon as I said that, I blacked out. Boom, I went down. As soon as I hit the floor, I kind of came and bounced back up again. Now I'm making my way to the bathroom because I feel like I'm coming up. I'm bouncing off the walls. I'm staggering to the bathroom. I almost made it to the bathroom, but I didn't. By the way, it's all blood. Nothing nasty there other than lots and lots of blood. It looks like someone gutted a goat in our bathroom. It's just blood everywhere. Laurie at this point, she's just waking up. She knows nothing, so she calls an ambulance. Now being the vain son of a bitch that I am, I'm thinking, I can't let the ambulance come in and see me like this. I'm covered in blood. This is ugly. This is nasty. I can't do this. So what do? I jump up to take a shower. As soon as this is crazy. As soon as I jump up in the shower, now I'm blacking out. And every time I'm blacking out, I'm bouncing my head off something. So now my head is bleeding. I cut the bridge of my nose. I can only stay up for about 30, 45 seconds at a time. It was really stupid. Finally, Laurie tells me just to get in the tub and wait for the ambulance. And I did. I don't remember much else after that. But the moral of the story is read the effing directions. I go to the emergency room and they keep me there until about 4:30 in the morning, and they sent me home. Not passing any more blood. I still don't know what's wrong, but I'm not bleeding anymore, so they sent me home. Well, he then continues by saying he went to film an episode of his podcast, Strictly Business with John Alba, and things got worse. He said, I go home and now it's Wednesday. I'm flat on my back all Wednesday. Laurie's bringing me food and I'm kind of sucking it up. Wednesday evening, I'm starting to feel pretty good. I had a couple of scrambled eggs to go to bed. Everything is fine. I wake up the next morning feeling pretty good. I'm getting antsy. I got work to do. I'm trying to make things happen. Supposedly, I'm scheduled to do a Strictly Business episode of Alba at about noon. I had some other shit to do, other people to call, and I did all that stuff. So I sit down and I fire up my computer and I'm getting ready to do the show with Albert. And I said, I'm sorry, brother. I just can't do this. I just can't. I just hit a wall. As soon as I disconnected, I blacked out, bounced my head off my desk and passed out on the floor. My studio is not in my house. It's a guest house, basically. While I'm in my office, Laurie's in the big house and I'm down here in my office passed out. When I passed out, I lose control of everything and it's a mess again. When I come to my senses, I called her and I told her I need to go to the hospital again. She comes out, we go to the hospital, they put me in the ICU. I was in the emergency room for a couple of hours. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. They put me in the ICU and I was in there for a couple of days and the bleeding from my intestines was so bad, they couldn't figure out where it was coming from. They tried to go up there with a scope and take a look around, but it was so much blood and they couldn't tell what it was coming from. Then they have a discussion with me about how much of my intestines they're going to surgically remove and I'm going, oh no, we're not going to do any of this. But the doctor was pretty serious. Look, here's the deal. We do this or it may not turn out well for you. You're losing a lot of blood. So anyway, they talked me into that the best way they could. I'm still in Cody, Wyoming. The next day they say, okay, we're going to go in, take a look around, but if we have to operate on you, you're not going to be awake to talk about it. They put me under, they go in, Laurie's waiting in the lobby and about 10 minutes later they come out. Laurie's going, wait a minute, you're done already? They say he's bleeding too badly, we can't go in there, and by the way, we're out of blood. I'd used all the blood type that I was, A positive. I'd used all the blood they had in the hospital in the county that I live in. So they put me on a helicopter and they flew me to Billings, Montana because they had better equipment and experienced surgeons up there and all that kind of stuff. Again, they fly me there. The helicopter ride was awesome. It's going to probably cost me 50 or 60 grand, but it was a fun 40-minute ride, you know. I make it to Billings where they have more blood and surgeons. I'm in the ICU for a day or two there. And finally on Sunday morning, I wake up and I'm going, I feel pretty good actually. I'm kind of hungry. All throughout Sunday, I'm starting to feel a little better. Monday morning, I'm ready to go home and I pretty much stopped passing blood and everything was kind of normal. The doctor said, we're going to keep you in for one more day because if you drive home, it's a 2-hour drive from Billings to Cody. And if you drive home and something goes bad, there's no way we can help you. You're probably not going to make it. That's not what I want. I stuck around. They gave me one more test where I drank the solution and it all goes through you and they put me through this CAT scan machine. I take this as a precaution. They do that and they say, we can't find anything wrong with you. It was miraculous healing. I stopped bleeding. They couldn't find where the blood was coming from. It was a complete mystery. The doctor did tell me, you almost died twice. You almost died here and you almost died in Cody. Bischoff then went on to reveal that he had pieced together the fact that this was happening because of the Xylem Husk supplement, which he ended up telling the doctors about near the end of the visit. So obviously I know that was quite long, but it's a pretty crazy ordeal when you really hear it out loud. So thoughts go out to Eric Bischoff, thoughts go out to his family during what would have been an absolutely terrifying experience, but it would appear that Eazy is on the mend and back to normal. So that's fantastic to hear. But there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash the like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.